Second, remind yourself that you are the only one who truly knows your worth. Not your boss, not your friends, not strangers online, just you. And if you start believing in yourself, you'll notice something interesting. People will follow your lead. The world mirrors what you project. If you carry yourself with confidence, people will treat you as someone worthy of respect. But if you're constantly second-guessing yourself, constantly worried about what others think, people will pick up on that too. And finally, remember that confidence isn't about never failing, never getting rejected, or never making mistakes. It's about knowing that even if you do, you'll be just fine. When you trust yourself to handle anything, you stop fearing everything. And when that happens, nothing and no one can bother you. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, whether they realize it or not. They dress a certain way, speak a certain way, act a certain way, all because they're worried about what others might think. And the problem with that, it puts your happiness in someone else's hands. The moment you rely on external validation, you give people control over your emotions. If they praise you, you feel good. If they criticize you, you feel bad. If they ignore you, you start questioning yourself. It's a dangerous way to live because it means your peace is always at the mercy of someone else's opinion. But here's the truth. What people think of you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. People see you through the lens of their own experiences, insecurities, and biases. One person might think you're amazing while another thinks you're average. One might admire you while another resents you. Which one is right? Neither. Because opinions aren't facts, they're just reflections of the person giving them. And when you understand that, you stop taking them so seriously. The need for approval is something we're conditioned into from a young age. We're taught to seek gold stars, good grades, and pats on the back. But at some point, you have to break free from that. You have to realize that living for approval is a losing game because no matter what you do, you'll never please everyone. You could be the kindest, most hardworking person in the world, and someone will still find a reason to criticize you. So why waste time trying? Why base your confidence on something so unreliable? The moment you stop seeking validation, everything changes. You start making decisions based on what you truly want, not on what will impress others. You stop overthinking how you come across. You stop walking on eggshells, afraid of upsetting people. And ironically, that's when people respect you the most. When they see that you don't need their validation to feel secure. Because confidence is magnetic. The more secure you are in yourself, the more others are drawn to you. Now, does this mean you ignore feedback completely? Of course not. Growth comes from learning. But there's a difference between considering constructive feedback and being dependent on approval. One helps you grow, the other keeps you trapped. The key is to filter what you let in. If feedback helps you improve, take it. If it's just noise, let it go. And here's the real power in letting go of external validation. You become immune to manipulation. People can't guilt trip you, pressure you, or control you when their opinions no longer dictate your self-worth. You stop fearing rejection. You stop needing to prove yourself. And when you reach that point, you become truly free. At the end of the day, your life is yours to live. Not your parents, not your friends, not society's. Yours. The question is, are you going to live it for yourself or for the approval of people who may not even care tomorrow? Once you answer that, nothing and no one will ever bother you again. Perspective is everything. The way you see a situation determines how you feel about it. Two people can go through the exact same experience, yet one walks away angry and frustrated while the other stays calm and unbothered. Why? Because one of them knows how to shift their perspective. The ability to control how you see things is one of the most powerful tools you can have. It can turn stress into a challenge, frustration into an opportunity, and offense into nothing at all. Most people don't realize they have this power. They think emotions happen to them. They believe that if someone is rude, they have to get angry. If something goes wrong, they have to feel upset. But that's not true. It's not the event that causes the reaction. It's the way you interpret it. And that means you can change your response just by changing the way you look at it. Take criticism, for example. Someone says something negative about you, and your first instinct might be to feel offended, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But what if you stepped back and looked at it differently? What if, instead of taking it personally, you saw it as information? Either it's useful feedback that can help you improve, or it's meaningless noise that says more about them than it does about you. Either way, there's no need to get upset. When you see criticism as either helpful or irrelevant, it loses its power over you. The same goes for dealing with difficult people. Some people are negative, rude, or just plain annoying. But instead of letting them ruin your mood, what if you saw them as a test of your patience? What if, instead of reacting emotionally, you use them as practice for staying calm and in control? Suddenly, they go from being a source of frustration to a tool for your growth. The moment you stop seeing them as obstacles and start seeing them as lessons, they stop bothering you. And here's something to think about. How often do we stress over things that won't even matter a year from now? A rude comment, a minor inconvenience, a moment of embarrassment. We let these little things consume our thoughts, waste our energy, and ruin our day. But if it's not going to matter in the long run, why let it steal your peace now? When you learn to zoom out, to take a wider perspective, you realize that most of what upsets you is temporary and insignificant. It's easy to think that other people are responsible for our emotions. Someone cuts us off in traffic and we say they made us mad. A coworker says something rude and we claim they ruined our day. But the truth is, no one has that kind of power unless we hand it to them. No one can force you to feel anything, anger, frustration, irritation, without your permission. Once you truly understand that, you become untouchable. Think about it. Have you ever seen two people react completely differently to the same situation? Maybe one person shrugs off an insult while another stews over it for days. The difference isn't in what happened, it's in how they chose to process it. And that's the key. How you respond to life is always your choice. When you get angry, it's not because of what someone said or did. It's because in that moment, you decided to let it get to you. Now, some might say, but I can't help it. When someone disrespects me, I just explode. That's not true. You've simply built a habit of reacting that way. And like any habit, it can be changed. Imagine if every time someone tried to push your buttons, you paused for just a second. That brief moment gives you power. Instead of reacting automatically, you step back, take a breath, and decide, is this even worth my energy? Most of the time, the answer is no. Let's put this in perspective. Suppose someone walks up to you and hands you a gift, but you refuse to take it. Who does it belong to? Still them, right? The same thing applies to negativity. If someone throws anger, criticism, or insults your way, you don't have to accept them. You can just leave it with them. That's their baggage, not yours. Now, this doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It simply means you don't let other people dictate your peace. If someone tries to offend you and you don't get offended, who really lost? They did. Because their goal was to get under your skin and they failed. Think about the strongest, most respected people you know. Are they the ones who snap at every little provocation? Or are they the ones who stay calm, composed, and unshaken? Strength isn't in yelling the loudest. It's in being unmovable, in controlling your emotions rather than being controlled by them. Now, here's where it gets even more powerful. When you stop letting things bother you, people lose their hold over you. The coworker who loves to get a reaction out of you, the moment they see you don't care, they'll stop trying. The person who loves to criticize, when they realize their words don't shake you, They'll either change their approach or disappear. Why? Because they only have as much influence as you allow. It's the same reason you don't get mad when a child throws a tantrum. You recognize that they don't know any better, so you don't take it personally. What if you applied that same mindset to adults? What if, instead of taking offense, you saw their negativity as a reflection of them, not you? You'd stop wasting energy trying to fight battles that aren't even yours. At the end of the day, life becomes much easier when you realize that you, not your boss, not your family, not strangers on the internet, are in charge of your emotions. And when you master that, you'll never be easily shaken again. Confidence is like armor. When you have it, the words and actions of others can't pierce you. But when you lack it, every little thing feels like an attack. That's why some people are easily offended, constantly on edge, always feeling disrespected. It's not because the world is against them. It's because deep down they're not sure of themselves. When you know who you are, when you trust yourself completely, nothing anyone says can shake you. Think about the last time someone's words got under your skin. Why did it bother you? Was it because what they said was true, or was it because some part of you feared it might be? That's what most people don't realize. Insults only sting when they touch a wound that already exists. If you called a lion weak, it wouldn't flinch. Why? Because it knows what it is. It doesn't need anyone's validation. But if you call an insecure person weak, they'll get defensive, maybe even angry. Not because they're actually weak, but because they haven't fully convinced themselves that they're strong. That's why building confidence is the key to never letting people get to you. When you believe in yourself, you stop looking for outside approval. You don't need people to like you. You don't need their opinions to define your worth. And the moment you stop needing it, you become untouchable. Because the truth is, most people try to bring others down simply to make themselves feel bigger. But when you refuse to be affected, when you stay grounded in who you are, their power over you disappears. Now, confidence isn't arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about knowing that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. A confident person doesn't need to fight every battle. They don't need to argue to be right. They don't need to defend themselves over every little thing. They know who they are, and that's enough. And when you reach that level of self-assurance, life gets a lot easier. You stop overthinking what people think of you. You stop taking things personally. You stop letting small comments turn into big problems. But here's the catch. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you stand by your decisions, every time you refuse to let someone else's negativity define you, you reinforce it. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the stronger it gets, the less anything or anyone can shake you. So how do you start? First, stop seeking approval. The moment you realize you don't need validation, you take back control. If someone criticizes you, let them. If someone doubts you, let them. Their opinion doesn't change your reality. And the irony is, the more you stop caring about what people think, the more they start respecting you. It's not always easy to shift perspective in the moment, but it's a skill worth mastering. The next time something annoys you, pause for a second and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Most of the time, you'll realize it's not. And when you do that often enough, when you train yourself to step back and see the bigger picture, you become unshakable. Because in the end, it's not about controlling what happens around you. It's about controlling how you see it. And when you master that, nothing and no one can bother you again. There's a simple truth most people overlook. If you don't take something seriously, it can't hurt you. Think about it. The things that bother you the most are the things you give the most weight to. If someone insults you and you take it personally, it stings. But if you laugh it off, if you don't let it register as important, it loses all its power. Humor and indifference are two of the greatest shields you can carry in life because they make you untouchable. People who go through life easily offended always on edge, constantly looking for a reason to be upset, those are the ones who suffer the most. Not because the world is any harder on them than anyone else, but because they let everything in. They absorb negativity like a sponge instead of letting it bounce off. And here's the thing, there will always be negativity. There will always be people who criticize, annoy, and try to provoke you. The question is, are you going to let them, or are you going to rise above it? When you learn to laugh at what's meant to hurt you, you take away its sting. When you stop giving energy to nonsense, it stops affecting you. If someone tries to bring you down, don't fight them. Smile and move on. That doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It doesn't mean you ignore real problems. It just means you stop wasting your energy on things that don't deserve it. The truth is, most people who try to upset you aren't doing it because of you. They're doing it because of them. They're unhappy, insecure, or just looking for attention. When you react, you give them exactly what they want. But when you stay calm, when you refuse to play their game, you leave them powerless. Nothing frustrates someone more than realizing they can't get to you. And then there's indifference. If humor is the shield, indifference is the armor. When you reach a point where other people's negativity doesn't even register, when you stop needing to respond, to prove a point, to engage in pointless battles, that's real strength. Some people think ignoring negativity is weakness. It's not. It's control. It's knowing that your peace of mind is worth more than a temporary argument. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not every battle is worth fighting. Some things are better left alone, not because you can't respond, but because responding would be a waste of your time. Your energy is precious. Spend it on things that build you, not things that drain you. So the next time someone tries to push your buttons, don't give them the satisfaction. Smile, shrug it off, walk away. Because the moment you stop letting things get to you, the moment you learn to laugh and stay indifferent to nonsense, that's the moment you become untouchable. Some people think strength is about always winning, always proving a point, always making sure others know they're right. But real strength is the ability to walk away when something isn't worth your peace. It's knowing that your energy is too valuable to waste on meaningless arguments, pointless debates, or trying to convince someone who has already made up their mind. The strongest people aren't the loudest. They aren't the ones who fight every battle. They're the ones who know when to stay silent, when to step back, and when to let things go. The need to be right is one of the biggest traps people fall into. It pulls them into endless arguments, drains their energy, and leaves them frustrated over things that don't even matter in the long run. How many times have you seen two people go back and forth over something trivial, neither willing to back down? At the end of it, does anyone actually win? No, because even if you win the argument, what did you really gain? An exhausted mind, a broken relationship, a wasted hour? That's not victory. That's just ego. Letting go of the need to win every argument doesn't mean you're weak. It means you value your peace more than your pride. It means you understand that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every opinion needs to be challenged. Some people argue just to argue. Some people are set in their ways and will never change their minds, no matter how much logic or reason you throw at them. And some people only want to get a reaction out of you. The best thing you can do? Don't give them one. When you refuse to engage in negativity, you take away its power. When you stop responding to nonsense, nonsense disappears from your life. People can only argue with you if you argue back. They can only disturb your peace if you let them in. But the moment you decide that your energy is too valuable to waste on petty conflicts, everything changes. It takes maturity to stay silent when your ego wants to lash out. It takes wisdom to walk away when your pride wants to stay and fight. But the reward is freedom. The freedom to go through life unbothered, unshaken, and at peace no matter what's happening around you. Not because you're avoiding problems, but because you know what deserves your attention and what doesn't. The next time someone tries to pull you into an argument, ask yourself, if I engage in this, what do I actually gain? Most of the time, the answer is nothing. No peace, no growth, no progress, just wasted time and energy. But when you choose to let it go, when you walk away instead of getting pulled into the chaos, you win something far more valuable, control over yourself. And when you have that, nothing and no one can bother you again. For a purpose greater than yourself, it comes with a weight that most will never have to carry. The chosen ones, those destined for something higher, walk a different path. And because of that, they often walk it alone. When God calls you, He doesn't send you down an easy road. He doesn't place you in the middle of the crowd where you can blend in and feel comfortable. No, He pulls you out. He sets you apart. And that separation can feel like isolation. It can feel like loneliness, like rejection, like you don't belong anywhere. But let me tell you something. You were never meant to belong where you were called to lead. The burden of being chosen is heavy. It means you see things differently. It means you hear things that others don't hear. It means that the vision inside you, the fire that burns in your spirit, will set you on a course that others can't understand. You will try to explain it to them, and they will look at you like you're speaking another language. You will try to bring them with you, but they won't want to go. And that's where the pain comes in, because being chosen doesn't just separate you from the world, it often separates you from the people you love. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've had moments where you felt completely alone, wondering why no one seems to understand you. You've sat in rooms full of people and still felt like an outsider. You've been surrounded by friends and family and still felt an emptiness inside because deep down you know you were meant for something else. But here's what I need you to understand. That feeling isn't a mistake. That loneliness isn't an accident. It is a sign that God is doing something in you that He is not doing in everyone else. When you are chosen, you cannot live like everybody else, you cannot think like everybody else, and you cannot move like everybody else. That's why you don't fit in. That's why you struggle to relate. It's not that there's something wrong with you, it's that there's something different about you. God has placed something inside of you that requires separation. Because what He is building in you requires focus. It requires discipline, it requires obedience, and it requires you to let go of the need to be understood. Some of the greatest men and women of God were isolated before they were elevated. Look at Moses, raised in Pharaoh's house, but not truly one of them. Called to lead his people, but rejected by them at first. Look at Joseph, given a dream, but sold by his own brothers. Look at David, anointed as king, but sent back to the field. Over and over again, the pattern is the same. Before the chosen ones can step into their destiny, they must endure the loneliness that comes with being set apart. And that loneliness, it breaks you, it humbles you, it brings you to your knees. But that breaking is necessary, because when God is preparing you, He has to strip away everything that is not meant to go with you. The relationships that were only meant for a season, the habits that no longer serve your purpose, the distractions that keep you from hearing His voice. And sometimes the only way He can do that is to pull you away from everything and everyone you thought you needed. I know it's hard. I know there are nights when you wonder why God would place such a heavy burden on your shoulders. I know there are moments when you want to give up, when you think maybe I'm not strong enough for this. But I came to tell you today that you are. You were built for this. You were chosen for this. And if God called you to it, He will give you the strength to carry it. Loneliness is not the end of your story. It is the beginning. It is the refining fire that purifies your purpose. It is the space where God speaks the clearest. It is the preparation ground for something far greater than you can imagine. So don't fight it. Don't resist it. Embrace it. Because when the time comes when God says it's time to step into the fullness of your calling, you will look back and realize that the loneliness wasn't loneliness at all. It was God walking with you, shaping you, preparing you so that when He finally sends you out, you will be ready. Rejection has a way of cutting deep. It makes you question yourself. Wonder if you're good enough, if you're worthy, if you're truly meant for the calling you feel burning inside you. You step out in faith, believing that people will see what God has placed in you, believing they will support you, believing they will stand by your side, but instead they walk away. They turn their backs. They dismiss you. And that pain, it doesn't just touch your heart. It shakes your very soul. But let me tell you something. Rejection is not a punishment, it is preparation. It is not God saying you are not good enough. It is God saying you are being set apart. Too often we take rejection personally. We see it as a sign that we have failed, that we are not wanted, that we are unworthy. But when God allows rejection in your life, it is because He is redirecting you. He is protecting you. He is making sure that you do not settle for something that is beneath the purpose He has placed on your life. Look at Joseph. His own brothers rejected him, threw him into a pit, sold him into slavery. He had dreams, visions of what God was going to do through him. But before he could step into that destiny, he had to walk through the fire of rejection. If his brothers had accepted him, he would have stayed where he was. If they had embraced him, he would have never been forced onto the path that led him to Egypt, to the palace, to the position God had already prepared for him. Sometimes the very people you think should support you will be the ones to push you away. They won't understand your vision. They won't see what you see. And you will be tempted to shrink yourself down, to lower your calling just to be accepted. But God didn't call you to be accepted. He called you to be set apart. He called you to rise above, to lead, to stand where others refuse to stand. And that means rejection isn't something to fear. It is something to embrace. When you are rejected, don't waste time chasing after people who don't see your value. Don't sit around crying over doors that have closed, because if God allowed that door to shut, it means He has something greater in store. You might not see it now. You might not understand it in the moment. But if you trust Him, if you keep walking, if you keep believing, you will come to realize that every rejection was actually a blessing. Every no was a step toward a greater yes. Some of you are holding on to the pain of rejection, and it's keeping you from stepping into what God has for you. You're still thinking about the people who left. You're still replaying the words they said. You're still letting their opinions define your worth. But listen to me. Your value is not determined by the people who reject you. Your calling is not canceled just because someone didn't believe in you. If God called you, that is all the confirmation you need. If God chose you, then no amount of rejection can stop what He has planned. You have to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing rejection as a loss, start seeing it as a sign that God is moving in your life. He is closing doors that need to be closed. He is removing people who cannot go where you are going. He is making sure that when you step into your destiny, you are surrounded by the right people in the right place at the right time. Jesus Himself faced rejection. He was despised, ridiculed, mocked by the very ones He came to save. He was betrayed by those closest to Him. And yet He never let their rejection stop Him from fulfilling His purpose. If even Jesus had to endure rejection, why do we think we will be embraced? Why do we think that being chosen means we will be embraced? The truth is, the greater the calling, the greater the rejection. The higher the purpose, the lonelier the road. But here's what I need you to understand. Rejection is not the end of your story. It is a necessary part of your preparation. It is shaping you, refining you, making you stronger, because when you finally step into the place God has been leading you, you will look back and realize that every rejection was actually God's way of saying, I have something better. You will see that He was always in control, always guiding your steps, always preparing you for something greater than you could have imagined. So the next time you face rejection, don't cry over it. Don't beg for acceptance. Stand tall, hold your head high, and remember, you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. And God is using every rejection to push you closer to your purpose. There comes a point in life when you realize that before God elevates you, He first allows you to be broken. It's not the kind of breaking that destroys you. It's the kind that strips away everything that is not meant to go with you into your next season. It's the kind of breaking that refines, that humbles, that prepares, because God never promotes without preparation, and preparation always comes with pain. Some people think being chosen means an easy road, a life free from struggle. But if you look at anyone God has ever used, you will see a pattern. Before the elevation, there is isolation. Before the breakthrough, there is heartbreak. Before the crown, there is a crushing. And in that crushing, you will feel like everything is falling apart. You will feel like the very things you thought were secure are being taken from you. You will wonder why God is allowing you to go through so much pain when all you've ever tried to do is follow Him. But that's the thing about being chosen. It means you have to go through what others won't, because you are being prepared for something others can't handle. When God has a high calling on your life, He cannot afford to let you walk into it unprepared. He cannot afford to let you carry pride, bitterness, unforgiveness, or dependency on people. So He allows the breaking, not because He is cruel, but because He knows that what He has for you is too great to be carried by who you are right now. Look at David, anointed as a young man, called to be king. But before he ever sat on a throne, he had to run for his life. He had to hide in caves. He had to be betrayed by the very people he once fought for. God had already chosen him, but he wasn't ready yet. He had the anointing, but he still needed the process, and the process was painful. Some of you are in that process right now. You are in the middle of the breaking, and you don't understand why. You are looking at your life wondering why doors keep closing, why relationships keep falling apart, why the very things you prayed for seem to be slipping through your fingers. You are asking God, why me? Why this? Why now? And the answer is simple, because He is making you into who you were always meant to be. Gold is refined in fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Olive oil only flows when the olive is crushed. And you, what God has placed inside of you, can only be revealed through the breaking. The dreams He has given you, the purpose He has placed within you, the strength He knows is in you, all of it has to be drawn out. And it cannot happen when you are comfortable. It cannot happen when everything is easy. It happens when you are on your knees, when you have nothing left but God, when every earthly thing has failed you, and the only thing you have to hold on to is His Word. You might not see it now, but one day you will look back and thank Him for the breaking. One day you will realize that every tear, every heartbreak, every loss was not working against you, but for you. You will see that what you thought was rejection was actually protection. What you thought was suffering was actually preparation. What you thought was the end was actually the beginning of the person God was molding you into. So, don't resist the process. Don't try to rush the healing. Let God do what He needs to do. Let Him strip away what no longer serves you. Let Him remove the distractions, the attachments, the things that are keeping you from stepping fully into your calling. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, it will feel unfair. But when He is finished, you will be stronger, you will be wiser, you will be unshakable, and when the time comes for Him to elevate you, you will be ready. When God sets you apart, He does not always make it obvious. He does not always announce it with signs and wonders that make others stand in awe. Instead, He does something far more subtle, far more powerful. He makes you different. And for a long time, you might not even understand it yourself. You just know that you don't quite fit in. You can be surrounded by people, yet still feel like you are walking a different path. You can have opportunities, but something inside you tells you they are not for you. You can have relationships, but they don't seem to last. And at some point, you start asking yourself, why? Why does it feel like I don't belong? Why does it seem like my journey is so different from everyone else's? The answer is simple, because you were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to fit where you don't belong. You were not created to be like everyone else, because the calling on your life is not like everyone else's. There is something about you that God has set apart for a purpose greater than you can see right now. And that kind of purpose, it requires a different path. It requires a process that many people will never understand. There is a weight that comes with being chosen, a loneliness that often accompanies purpose. And if you are not careful, you will start to resent the very thing that makes you special. You will start to see your uniqueness as a burden instead of a blessing. You will start to think that something is wrong with you because you don't think like others, you don't move like others, you don't settle like others. But let me tell you something, being different is not a curse. It is proof that God's hand is on your life. It is evidence that He is calling you higher, preparing you for something greater, something that requires you to be set apart. And that process, it's not always easy. It means you will lose some people along the way. It means you will have seasons of isolation where it feels like no one understands you. It means you will have to walk through doors alone, trusting that if God led you there, He will sustain you. It means you will have to make choices that don't make sense to others, choices that require faith, choices that require sacrifice. Look at Moses. He grew up in Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by wealth, power, privilege, but deep inside, he knew he didn't belong. He could have stayed, he could have lived a comfortable life, but he was called to something greater. And that calling, it led him into the wilderness. It led him into a place of isolation. It led him into a season where he had nothing but God. But in that place, in that loneliness, in that separation, some of you are in that wilderness right now. Some of you feel like you are walking alone, like you have been separated from everything familiar. And it's tempting to think that maybe you've missed it. Maybe you've done something wrong. But I want you to hear me. This is not punishment. This is preparation. God is not keeping you apart to harm you. He is setting you apart to prepare you. He is teaching you to depend on Him, to trust Him when the path isn't clear, to walk by faith even when you cannot see what's ahead. And when the time comes, when He finally reveals what He has been preparing you for, you will look back and realize that every lonely season, every difficult choice, every moment you felt out of place, it was all necessary. You will see that He was never ignoring you, never forgetting you. He was setting you apart, shaping you, making sure that when the time came for you to step into your purpose, you would be ready. There is something about being chosen that makes you a target. The moment God sets you apart, the moment He places a calling on your life, the battle begins. And for some, that battle starts early. Some of you have faced opposition for as long as you can remember. It feels like you've had to fight for everything, your peace, your purpose, your very existence. It's not that you went looking for the fight came looking for you. And you wonder why. You wonder why your life has been a constant battlefield while others seem to walk an easier road. You wonder why you've had to endure loss, rejection, betrayal, hardship, and sometimes, if you're honest, but hear me when I say this, the attack on your life is proof of the anointing on your life. The enemy does not waste time on people who are not a threat. He does not come after those who have no purpose, no calling, no destiny. He comes after the ones who are dangerous to His plans. He comes after the ones who have been marked by God for something greater. And that is why the fight has been so intense. That is why you have faced things that should have destroyed you. That is why the enemy has tried to take you out time and time again, because he sees what's inside of you. Even when you don't see it yourself, He sees it. Look at Joseph. God gave him a dream, a vision of who he was destined to become. But before he ever reached that place, he had to go through the pit. He had to be betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. Everything in his life seemed to be falling apart, but in reality, everything was falling into place. Every trial, every setback, every painful moment was positioning him for the purpose God had already planned. Some of you are in that place right now. You are in the pit and you don't understand why. You are looking at your life, at all the struggles, all the attacks, and you're wondering how any of it makes sense. But what you don't see is what's happening behind the scenes. What you don't realize is that every battle you have fought has been training you for where God is taking you. The things that were meant to break you have been building you. The struggles that were supposed to destroy you have been strengthening you. Because here's the truth. God does not call the untested. He does not place great responsibility in the hands of the unprepared. And so he allows the struggle not to weaken you, but to equip you. He allows the battle not to defeat you, but to develop you. Because if you are going to carry the weight of the calling he has placed on your life, you need to be strong enough to stand. You need to be wise enough to discern. You need to be resilient enough to keep going when everything in you wants to quit. And that is why the enemy has fought you so hard. That is why the pressure has been so great. Because he knows that once you fully step into who God has called you to be, once you realize the power and authority that has been placed inside of you, there is nothing he can do to stop you. He can attack, but he cannot win. He can throw obstacles in your way, but he cannot take away what God has ordained for you. So don't let the battle make you bitter. Don't let the attacks make you doubt who you are. Understand that every fight, every challenge, every hardship is confirmation that you are walking in purpose. It is proof that you are not ordinary, that you have been set apart, that heaven's hand is on your life. And when you come out on the other side of this, because you will come out, you will be stronger, you will be wiser, you will be ready for everything God has promised you. Keep fighting, keep standing, because victory is already yours. When God places a calling on your life, he doesn't just prepare a path for you, he prepares you for the path. And that preparation is rarely easy, it's rarely what you expect, and it's almost never what you would have chosen for yourself. Because being chosen doesn't mean things will come easily. It doesn't mean doors will always open without resistance. It doesn't mean you'll always be understood, accepted, or celebrated. Sometimes being chosen means walking alone. Sometimes it means being rejected by the very people you thought would support you. Sometimes it means enduring storms you never saw coming, battles you never thought you'd have to fight. It's in those moments that you might start to wonder if you're really called at all. Because in your mind, if God had truly chosen you, wouldn't the road be smoother? Wouldn't the people around you see your heart and stand with you? Wouldn't the opportunities align, the struggles ease, the weight lift? But what if I told you that the struggle is the evidence, that the loneliness is part of the process, that the breaking is the making? Think about David. When the prophet anointed him as king, he was just a young shepherd boy. He wasn't sitting on a throne. He wasn't in a palace. He wasn't even considered by his own family. He was out in the field, forgotten. And after he was anointed, after he received the confirmation that he was chosen, his life didn't get easier. It got harder. He found himself running for his life, hiding in caves, betrayed, misunderstood, facing giants, fighting battles he never had. But all of it, every lonely night, every painful moment, every season of uncertainty, was shaping him into the king he was meant to be. Some of you are in that season right now. You feel like you've been cast aside, like you've been overlooked, like the weight of life is pressing down on you. You've been faithful, but doors haven't opened. You've been obedient, but the road has been rough. And you're starting to wonder if you have the strength to keep going. But let me remind you, just because you don't see the promise yet doesn't mean it's not coming. Just because you're in the wilderness doesn't mean you're not on the right path. God is not punishing you, He is preparing you. He is strengthening you in the silence. He is developing your character in the hidden place. He is teaching you to trust Him when there's nothing else to hold on to. Because when the time comes for you to step into what He has called you to do, you won't just be ready, you'll be unshakable. And the truth is, not everyone will understand that process. Not everyone will see what God is doing in you. Some will question it, some will doubt it, some will walk away from you because they don't recognize what's inside of you. But don't let their misunderstanding make you doubt what God has already confirmed. Don't let their rejection make you question your identity. If people leave, let them go. If doors close, trust that they weren't meant for you. If the journey is harder than you expected, know that it's because what God is building in you is bigger than you ever imagined. The chosen ones will always face the greatest battles. They will always carry the heaviest weight, but they will also walk in the greatest power. Because when you have been tested, when you have been refined by fire, when you have walked through the valley and still kept your faith, nothing can shake you. Nothing can break you. So, don't be discouraged by the process. Don't let the struggle make you lose sight of the promise. Keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Because what God has spoken over your life will not return void. And when the time comes, when the preparation is complete, when everything He has been shaping in you is ready, nothing in this world will be able to stop what He has ordained for you. Stay faithful, stay strong, because your time is coming.
Let me tell you something. There comes a time when you have to wake up and realize that being the nice girl isn't getting you anywhere. You keep bending over backward, stretching yourself thin, smiling when you don't feel like smiling, agreeing when your heart is screaming no, and thinking that if you just give a little more, love a little harder, sacrifice a little deeper, then maybe, just maybe, people will appreciate you. Maybe they'll love you back. Maybe they'll treat you the way you deserve. But the hard truth is, that's not how the world works. The more you give, the more they take. The more you sacrifice, the more they expect. And the moment you stop, the moment you need something in return, that's when you find out you were never really seen, never truly valued, just conveniently used. You see, life doesn't reward the ones who let themselves be walked over. It doesn't bless the ones who keep making excuses for other people's disrespect. It's not the girl who constantly makes herself small, who bites her tongue, who lets things slide. No, she doesn't get the respect she longs for. She gets overlooked. She gets dismissed. She gets drained. And she spends her nights wondering why no one ever shows up for her the way she shows up for them. But I need you to hear me tonight. This is not about them. It's about you. It's about what you allow, what you tolerate, what you keep telling yourself is okay, when deep down, it's not. Somewhere along the way, you learned that being nice meant being quiet, that being kind meant never speaking up, that love meant enduring whatever came your way. But I came to shake you out of that lie. That is not love. That is not kindness. That is not strength. It is a slow erosion of your worth. And I don't know who needs to hear this tonight, but your worth is not in how much pain you can endure. Your worth is not in how much you can give before you break. Your worth is not in how much you can shrink yourself to fit into someone else's life. There's a difference between being a good woman and being a doormat. A good woman has boundaries. A good woman knows her value. A good woman walks with her head held high, not because she's arrogant, but because she understands that her kindness is a gift, not a debt she owes to the world. And if you don't get that right, if you don't learn to draw the line, then you will keep attracting people who see your goodness as something to use, not something to cherish. Some of you have been saying, I don't know why they treat me this way. I don't know why they always take advantage of me. But let me tell you something. You teach people how to treat you. If you keep making excuses for disrespect, they'll keep disrespecting you. If you keep overextending yourself, they'll keep expecting it. If you keep settling for less, they'll never offer you more. This isn't about them changing. It's about you changing. It's about you deciding that you are no longer available for one-sided relationships, for people who only call you when they need something, for situations that drain you more than they fill you. Some of you have spent years carrying other people's burdens, holding their pain, fixing their messes, and losing yourself in the process. But what about you? What about your dreams? What about your happiness? What about the life you were meant to live? You were not put here just to be a background character in somebody else's story. You were not created just to be a stepping stone for somebody else's journey. You have a voice. There is nothing wrong with being kind. There's nothing wrong with being compassionate. But kindness without boundaries is self-betrayal. Love without standards is self-destruction. And if you don't respect yourself enough to say, I deserve better, then don't expect anyone else to. You've got to stop waiting for people to see your worth and start walking in it. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stop overextending yourself for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. Stop making your presence an open invitation to those who have proven they don't value it. The moment you decide to stop being the nice girl, the one who says yes when she means no, the one who tolerates nonsense just to keep the peace, the one who gives her all and gets crumbs in return, that is the moment your life changes. That is the moment you take your power back. That is the moment you step into who you were always meant to be. Let me tell you something. Respect is not something you hand out like candy. It is not something you give away freely, hoping that one day people will return the favor. No, respect is earned. It is built on strength, on self-worth, on the quiet confidence of knowing who you are and refusing to be anything less. But too many of you have been told that being nice will make people respect you, that being agreeable will make people value you, that if you just give and give and give, one day they'll finally see your worth. But the hard truth is, the more you hand over your respect without requiring anything in return, the less people will give it back to you. Some of you are wondering why people keep taking advantage of you, why they keep walking all over you, why they keep treating you like an afterthought instead of a priority. But hear me tonight. You have been too available. You have been too accommodating. You have let people come and go in your life as they please without setting any standards, without requiring any level of decency, without demanding the respect you deserve. And let me tell you something, when you give yourself away too easily, people start believing they don't have to work for you. A woman who carries herself with dignity doesn't have to beg for respect. She doesn't have to plead for someone to see her value. She moves with purpose. She speaks with authority. She does not entertain foolishness. And when someone tries to play with her worth, she doesn't argue, she doesn't chase, she doesn't demand, she just walks away. Because she understands something that too many of you have forgotten. The moment you allow disrespect, you invite it into your life. Some of you have been making excuses for people who have shown you who they are. You say, oh, they didn't mean it like that. Oh, maybe they're just having a bad day. Oh, if I just love them harder, maybe they'll change. Let me make something real clear. Disrespect doesn't need to be explained away. If someone truly values you, they will show it. They will be intentional. They will be consistent. They will make sure that their actions match their words. And if they don't, if they keep testing your boundaries, if they keep pushing you to see how much you tolerate, if they keep treating you like an option, instead of a priority, then you don't sit there and beg them to change. You show them the door. You see, when you carry yourself with strength, when you stop tolerating nonsense, when you demand respect, something shifts. People start recognizing that you are not someone to be played with. They start seeing that if they want access to you, they have to bring something real to the table. They have to come correct, or they don't come at all. And I need you to hear me when I say this. You set the tone for how people treat you. If you keep tolerating inconsistency, you will keep getting inconsistency. If you keep allowing disrespect, you will keep receiving disrespect. If you keep lowering your standards just to keep people around, then don't be surprised when they treat you like you're disposable. There is power in knowing your worth. There is power in standing your ground. There is power in looking someone in the eye and saying, I am not the one. And I need some of you to tap into that power, because for too long you have been settling for less than you deserve. You have been shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. You have been softening your voice so you don't seem too much. But let me tell you something. Anyone who can handle your strength, anyone who gets intimidated by your confidence, anyone who tries to break you down instead of build you up, they were never for you in the first place. A woman who understands her value does not lose sleep over people who don't respect her. She does not waste her time trying to convince someone to treat her right. She does not chase after love, after friendship, after validation, because she understands that what is meant for her will never require her to beg. So I need you to stop handing out respect like it's free. Stop entertaining people who do not honor you. Stop hoping that if you just keep being nice, one day they'll see your worth. That's not how this works. Respect is not given away. It is earned. And the first person who needs to start earning your respect is you. Let me tell you something. There is a difference between being kind and being weak. Some of you have spent your whole lives trying to be the nice girl, the agreeable one, the one who never makes waves. You've been told that if you're just kind enough, patient enough, understanding enough, then people will see your heart. They will cherish you. They will treat you the way you deserve. But let's be real. Has that ever truly worked? Have you ever given and given and given only to find yourself exhausted, overlooked, and disrespected? See, the problem is not your kindness. The problem is the way you've been using it. Kindness is not about making yourself small. It is not about letting people walk over you. It is not about constantly giving without ever receiving. And it sure isn't about allowing yourself to be mistreated just so you can prove that you have a good heart. No, that is not kindness. That is fear. That is insecurity. That is the belief that if you don't overextend yourself, if you don't break yourself for others, then somehow you won't be worthy of love. But I need you to hear me tonight. You are not here to be anybody's doormat. You are not here to be used. You are not here to spend your life proving your worth to people who don't even appreciate it. Some of you have confused kindness with being passive. You think that keeping the peace means staying silent when you should speak up. You think that being loving means tolerating behavior that is beneath you. You think that if you just give a little more, then maybe, just maybe, people will finally treat you right. But let me ask you something. How many times have you let things slide only for people to keep pushing your boundaries? How many times have you forgiven and excused and overlooked only to find yourself feeling resentful, feeling used, feeling invisible? That's not kindness. That's a lack of self-respect. See, real kindness is built on strength. It is built on confidence. It is built on knowing who you are and refusing to compromise that for anybody. A truly kind woman does not tolerate nonsense. She does not entertain disrespect. She does not allow herself to be drained by people who only take. No, because she understands that her kindness is a gift, not a weakness. She understands that her heart is precious and she is careful about who she gives it to. Some of you have been bending over backward for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. You have been carrying relationships, friendships, jobs, situations that are weighing you down, all in the name of being a good person. But let me tell you something. A good person has boundaries. A good person knows how to say no. A good person does not destroy herself trying to build everyone else up. And if you don't start learning the difference between kindness and weakness, you are going to keep attracting the wrong people into your life. People can sense when you don't value yourself. They can see when you're willing to be walked over. And the ones who are looking to take advantage, they will. They will take everything you have to give and then leave you empty. And when you finally stand up for yourself, when you finally draw a line, oh, they'll call you selfish. They'll call you mean. They'll say you've changed. But let me tell you, that is not your problem. That is their reaction to losing control over you. Because the moment you stop tolerating nonsense, the moment you stop seeking validation from the wrong people, is the moment they realize they can no longer use you. And I know some of you feel guilty for choosing yourself. You feel guilty for saying no. You feel guilty for not always being available. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you put yourself first? When was the last time you made decisions that actually made you happy? When was the last time you walked away from something that no longer served you without feeling bad about it? Because that is what real kindness looks like. It is not about giving until you are empty. Hear me tonight. Stop confusing kindness with weakness. Stop allowing people to mistake your patience for passivity. Stop thinking that being nice means being a pushover. Because a truly strong woman is both kind and firm, both loving and unshakable, both compassionate and fearless. And the moment you step into that, the moment you realize that your worth does not come from how much you endure, but from how much you respect yourself, that is the moment you stop being taken for granted. That is the moment you take your power back. There comes a time in your life when you have to stop explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds about you. You have to stop trying to prove who you are to people who refuse to see it. Some of you have been bending over backward, exhausting yourself, trying to get people to understand you, to respect you, to value you. But let me tell you something. If someone cannot recognize your worth on their own, there is nothing you can do, nothing you can say, no amount of effort you can put in that will force them to see it. You are not here to beg for understanding. You are not here to convince anyone of your value. See, people will believe what they want to believe. You will be trapped in a cycle of over-explaining, of over-proving, of seeking approval from people who were never meant to be part of your destiny in the first place. Some of you are so afraid of being misunderstood that you shrink yourselves. You hold back your truth. You keep quiet when you should speak up. You tone yourself down just to make other people comfortable. But let me tell you something. People who are committed to misunderstanding you will never hear you no matter how many times you try to explain. You can lay it all out. You can break it down piece by piece. You can give them all the reasons, all the facts, all the explanations, and still they will believe what they want to believe. And you know what? That is not your burden to carry. Some of you have spent too much time and too much energy trying to fix people's perceptions of you. You have been trying to rewrite the narrative, trying to make sure no one has the wrong idea, trying to control how people see you. But you have to understand, what people think of you is not your business. How they choose to interpret your actions, what they say about you behind closed doors, the assumptions they make, that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And the moment you let go of that need to be understood by everyone is the moment you set yourself free. Some of you are stuck in relationships, in friendships, in jobs where you feel like you constantly have to explain yourself. You constantly have to prove that you're good enough, that you're worthy, that you're not what they think you are. But let me ask you something. Why are you fighting so hard for a seat at a table that was never meant for you? Why are you exhausting yourself trying to be accepted by people who do not even appreciate you? If someone truly values you, if someone genuinely respects you, they will not need endless explanations to see your heart. They will not require constant convincing to believe in your intentions. They will not make you jump through hoops just to receive their understanding. No. Because when someone truly sees you, they see your character, they see your integrity, they see your actions, and that is enough. And let me make something real clear. Walking away from people who refuse to understand you does not mean you are bitter. It does not mean you are angry. It does not mean you are holding on to resentment. It means you are no longer willing to fight for a place in someone's life who does not even recognize your value. It means you have finally realized that your peace is more important than their approval. It means you have decided that your energy will no longer be wasted on people who refuse to see beyond their own limited perception. The moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you stop seeking validation, the moment you release the need to be understood by everyone is the moment you take your power back. Because the truth is, the right people will never need a long explanation. The right people will never question your worth. The right people will know your heart without you having to convince them. And those are the only people you need to focus on. Let me tell you something. There is power in walking away. There is power in knowing when something no longer serves you, when something no longer adds value to your life, when something is draining the very essence of who you are. But some of you have been holding on to people, to relationships, to situations that are breaking you instead of building you. You have convinced yourself that if you just try a little harder, if you just love a little deeper, if you just give a little more, then somehow things will change. But deep down, you already know the truth. Some people are not meant to stay. Some connections are not meant to last. And some seasons are meant to end. But instead of letting go, you cling. You hold on out of fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear of what people will say. Fear that maybe, just maybe, you're the one who is wrong. But let me ask you something. How much longer will you ignore what your soul already knows? How much longer will you let your spirit ache while your heart keeps making excuses? Because the truth is, when something is not meant for you, no amount of force, no amount of fixing, no amount of effort will make it fit. Some of you have people in your life who only take. They take your energy, they take your kindness, they take your love, they take your time. But what do they give? What do they pour back into you? You are pouring into empty cups, hoping that one day they will turn around and do the same for you. But they won't. Because the people who truly value you will never let you keep giving without receiving. They will never sit back and watch you drain yourself just to keep them comfortable. They will never expect you to sacrifice your peace just so they can maintain theirs. And yet here you are making excuses, telling yourself, maybe if I just give them one more chance, Maybe if I just prove my worth to them, maybe if I just keep being patient, one day they'll wake up and treat me the way I deserve. But hear me when I say this. You cannot make someone appreciate you. You cannot force someone to love you the way you love them. You cannot beg someone to see your value when they are determined to overlook it. And the longer you stay in places where you are not cherished, the more you are teaching yourself that you are not worthy of more. Some of you are afraid to walk away because you think leaving means you failed. You think letting go means you gave up. But let me tell you something. Leaving is not failure, it is wisdom. Walking away is not weakness, it is power. Letting go is not quitting, it is choosing yourself. And if you are the only one fighting, the only one investing, the only one carrying the weight of a relationship, then you are not in a partnership, you are in bondage. You are encouragement. Stop fighting to keep people in your life who are comfortable losing you. Stop trying to convince someone to treat you better when their actions have already proven they won't. Stop betraying yourself just to hold on to people who would not do the same for you. Because the truth is, the moment you let go, the moment you release what is draining you, the moment you choose yourself, is the moment you make room for something better. And I know it's hard, it's painful, it's terrifying, because when you've built your world around someone, when you've poured so much into a relationship, when you've given years, tears, effort, and love, walking away feels like losing a part of yourself. But listen to me. You are not losing anything that was meant for you. You are not missing out on something that was truly yours. You are not walking away from love. You are walking away from the illusion of it. Some of you have been waiting for permission to leave. You've been waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to walk away, okay to put yourself first, okay to finally break free. Well, let me be the one to tell you, you do not need permission to prioritize your peace. You do not need approval to protect your heart. You do not need validation to choose yourself. You have stayed long enough. You have tried long enough. You have given enough. Now it is time to do what you should have done a long time ago. Let go and move forward. Some of you have been giving people unlimited access to your life who have done nothing to deserve it. You have been opening doors for people who only come to take, drain, and disrupt your peace. You have been allowing people to walk in and out of your life like it's a revolving door, showing up when they need something, disappearing when they don't, treating you as an option while you treat them as a priority, and yet you keep allowing it. You keep excusing it. You keep telling yourself, maybe this time will be different. Maybe they didn't mean to hurt me. Maybe I'm expecting too much. But let me ask you something. How much longer will you keep lowering your standards to accommodate people who refuse to rise to them? Some of you are afraid to set boundaries because you think if you start saying no, people will leave. You think if you stop being available 24/7, if you stop overextending, if you stop giving beyond your capacity, then people won't want to be around you anymore. But hear me, you should not have to overgive, overprove, or oversacrifice just to be loved. Real love, real respect, real relationships do not require you to lose yourself just to keep them. And if someone only stays when you are overextending yourself, if someone only values you when if someone only appreciates you when you are people-pleasing, then they do not love you. They love what they can get from you. Some of you have trained people to believe that they can do whatever they want and you'll still be there. They can disrespect you, they can ignore your needs, they can take advantage of your kindness, and you will still show up. You will still answer their calls. You will still be available at their convenience. And do you know why? Because you have not set the standard for how you should be treated. You have not drawn the line on what you will and will not tolerate. You have not made it clear that you are not someone who can be used, manipulated, or taken for granted. But I need you to understand something. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept, what you tolerate, and what you allow. Some of you are long overdue for cutting some people off. Not because you don't love them, not because you don't care, but because they have made it clear through their actions, through their words, through their inconsistency, that they do not value you. And every time you continue to let them in, every time you make excuses for them, every time you ignore the red flags, you are sending a message that you accept being treated like an afterthought. But hear me,